time in the program today to take these one by one. In 1970, the Alaskan oil was found, somewhere around 1970. In 1974 through 76, the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline was built. And in 1976, one of the largest oil fields ever discovered in the world, and in particular in the United States of America. It's described in my book, The Energy Non-Crisis. Gull Island will blow your mind. This is a story within itself because after Gull Island was brought in, I was in the room with the oil company officials. I later asked Mr. Fromm, why don't you bring this oil to the American people? I knew already why. They couldn't. They had no choice. They could not bring gasoline back down to 25 cents a gallon again. They could not bring it to 50 or 60 cents a gallon. They couldn't, because the national debt had to be bought by someone. The Federal Reserve was obligated, and the national debt was growing so greatly. And now, Gull Island's brought in, and I said to Ken, why don't you bring this oil to the American people? He said, Chaplain, this is classified. We are not going to release that oil. We will never announce the oil field and the Arctic Wildlife Refuge, what is there, until, please, this is so important, put it down in your notes. You're hearing things today for the first time. He said, we will not produce these oil fields until we have crude oil to somewhere around $200 a barrel. I said that in different places. It got me in trouble. I later was called on the carpet by the elite, and I was threatened, and it was mainly because of this one subject right here. They had to get it to $200 a barrel. You are going to see $150 to $200 a barrel oil in the very near future. You're probably talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 to 12 months. They have to take it there because the problems that have developed, they developed them, by the way. The problems and the crisis that they have developed in the Middle East will grow so great until America will not be able to get its oil from the OPEC oil-producing countries of the Middle East and Saudi Arabia in particular.
Now, Lindsay, Lindsay, I want to back up for just a moment, and again, just let listeners know, the new information is coming up. There's new information that deals with how this is going to be played off against the U.S., how China's involved, what the elite have told you the role for the United States is going to be in this. We can already see this in their admitted globalist plans, but this is directly relating to what's happening now in the Middle East that you predicted from your sources in October of last year, 4 months ago, on this show. And so the really big bombshells are coming up, but it's important for people to have the foundation. Please continue.
Yes, you're exactly right. All of this fits into the total picture of China, where Mr. Fromm told me before he passed away, he said China is the big one. Keep your eyes on that.
But now the other sources filled that in for you.
Yes, the other sources just fill this in for me. I think the bombshell at this point that folks you definitely need to jot down is once they get that crude oil to the price of somewhere around $200 a barrel, at that point they will have created so much chaos in the Middle East. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, Libya, Tripoli, the capital building in Tripoli in Libya is burning right now, this moment, as we speak. In fact, this morning, Iranian warships went through the Suez Canal. Egypt finally gave them permission right now as this program is going on. The latest information I've gotten this morning is that the Iranian warships are through. This is going to involve Israel. That part I don't even want to go into on the program because it would be a program within itself. But once
well, Lindsay, we got time. Stay there. But we're going to discuss this entire strategic program and the next steps in it and where it's going to lead us if we don't expose this system. This is the end of America as we know it if they're able to do this. Now remember, Lindsey Williams, 6 months before oil 3 years ago went from $50 a barrel roughly to upwards of $150, said it was going to happen and named dates. We got similar intel out of Bilderberg that year. Then Lindsey said now it will go down to 40. It did go to 40. People laughed at him when he said it. It went from 150 to below 40. Then he said for the next 2 years it will only gradually go back up. But then he said in 2 years, that was 2 years ago, then watch for things to happen. Then he was told when the Middle East starts blowing up, get ready, but then watch China. Now he's been given the full plan, which again, when I hear it, it's there. It's confirmed separately through research, but this is from insiders. Now, he said this 4 months ago. Last night he briefed me on this. Now today, in fact, I had the articles out there during the break. Here it is. We'll put them on screen for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. They're up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Medvedev, revolutions could lead to disintegration of Middle East. PrisonPlanet.com. That's also in AFP today. Medvedev warns fanatics will take over Middle East. See, they don't so much run the fanatics. They spurred them on, helped them. Google admits that they were involved in all of it, the State Department, and they're just going to let them run wild and go crazy. But it's not just so that the oil gets disrupted, so they can now, and that's what, this is the big one, because I've got 3 pages of notes, Lindsay told me last night, that they're going to cheat the Arabs and stop doing the deal where they don't allow production of the big wells here in the U.S., not just Alaska. So it's not just that they're going to be in so much turmoil, that's going to be the excuse, and then they're going to cheat the Arabs on that deal, then they're going to stop buying the T-bills, and that's going to further kill the dollar, and that's the biggest one, is that they are planning to kill the dollar, and he's been given the time frame on all of this. That's the big, new, giant information, not from Ken Fromm, told him similar things before he died, from the other Mr. X, who was an actual CEO of the Big Three. Please continue, Lindsay.
I had no way of knowing any of this. Well, let me be very frank and upfront with your listening audience. I was a mere missionary flying airplanes out in the bush of Alaska at the time they said they were going to build the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline. The oil companies allowed me as a chaplain, later gave me executive status. I sat in the board meetings and lived with the elite of the world for 3 years' time. I could have never known any of the things that Alex has just mentioned had it not been the providence of God. It gave me favor with 2 of these individuals who are of the